The night wind moved softly through the hills of Israel, bending the tall grass like a quiet sea. Eliab sat alone near the edge of the camp, his cloak wrapped tightly around his shoulders. The fire behind him had begun to fade, but his thoughts burned brighter than the embers. Since the day the prophet had spoken over him, his heart had known no rest. He was still a shepherd, still the youngest among many. Yet something unseen had settled upon him, weight both heavy and sacred. Eliab did not fully understand it, but he felt it in his bones. The God of his fathers had looked upon him, not because of strength or wisdom, but because of the heart that beat within his chest. At dawn, Eliab rose and returned to the flock. As he walked among the sheep, he remembered the stories told by his father, of Abraham called from his land, of Moses drawn from the water, of men chosen when no one expected it. Eliab wondered if fear had once gripped them, as it now gripped him. Later that day, as the sun stood high, a cry echoed across the valley. A lamb had wandered too far and slipped into a rocky ravine. Without hesitation, Eliab climbed down the sharp stones, his hands scraped and bleeding, until he reached the trembling animal. He lifted it onto his shoulders and climbed back up, breathless but determined. In that moment, he understood something deeper. Leadership was not about being seen, but about bearing burdens. That evening, a traveler arrived at the camp. His clothes were worn by long roads, and his eyes carried urgency. He spoke of rising tensions beyond the hills, of villages uneasy, of whispers of war, of a people longing for deliverance. Eliab listened in silence, his heart pounding. The world beyond his pasture was calling, though no voice spoke his name aloud. As night fell, Eliab knelt on the ground, pressing his forehead to the dust. He prayed not for greatness, nor for glory, but for obedience. "Teach me your ways," he whispered, "and strengthen me for what I do not yet see." A deep peace followed, settling over him like morning dew. Eliab rose, knowing his life would not remain the same. Though his path was still hidden, his faith had taken root. He would walk forward one step at a time, trusting that the God who called him would also guide him. Above him, the stars burned bright and uncountable, silent witnesses to a destiny still unfolding.